Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down an absolute heist of a cricket match. We're looking back at the second T20 international between England and India, played at Emirates Old Trafford in 2026. And look, this wasn't just your standard run-of-the-mill game of cricket. It was a masterclass. We're talking tactical aggression, wild momentum swings, and ice-cold execution under pressure. We are going to deconstruct exactly how England managed to pull off a totally stunning victory when, honestly, the odds seemed completely stacked against them.
Right, let's dive straight into it with this massive number, 191. You have to remember, on a pitch with variable bounce, chasing anything near 10 runs and over from ball one is just a daunting psychological mountain to climb.
And this wasn't just any score. This is officially the highest target England has ever successfully chased against India in T20 internationals. To put into perspective just how monumental this is, they completely shattered a record that had stood for over a decade. The previous best? A 178-run chase way back in 2012 at the Wankhede Stadium. To better a record by that kind of margin, against a bowling attack as potent as India's, well, it requires something truly special. Part 1. Early Collapse and Chaos. To really wrap your head around the magnitude of this historic chase, you have to look at the sheer whiplash of those opening overs. Indian pacer Arshdeep Singh came steaming in and bowled a near-perfect first over. I mean, he conceded just a single run and picked up two massive wickets. He sent Phil Salt packing for a golden duck and then grabbed the incredibly crucial wicket of Jos Buttler. England was absolutely reeling. But then, in Arshdeep's second over, England captain Harry Brook completely flipped the script. He launched the staggering counterattack, smashing Arshdeep for 27 runs in that single over. Think about that swing, from 1 run and 2 wickets to 27 runs in the blink of an eye. Now, you might be wondering, why risk so much when you're already 2 wickets down? Well, as Captain Harry Brook noted after the match, the tactical plan was always to maximize the power play. The English side had clearly analyzed the wind conditions and the dimensions of the ground at Old Trafford, so his fearless aggression here actually makes complete sense. He knew that to chase 191, they literally couldn't afford to just survive. They had to punch back immediately, relying on their inherent power and innovation to completely unsettle the Indian bowlers. Which brings us to Part 2, Bethel's Masterclass. Player of the match, Jacob Bethel, folks. He anchored the innings with an unbeaten 76 runs off just 46 deliveries. That is the second most runs scored by an England batter against India at home, sitting only behind David Malan's 77 at Trent Bridge in 2022. But, it wasn't just the sheer volume of runs, it was how Bethel scored them, navigating a really tricky middle overs phase with just an incredible amount of maturity for his age. Let's look at a forensic breakdown of the Indian spinners because this reveals a fatal tactical flaw. When they bowled full, so less than 4 meters, they only bowled 9 balls, giving up 16 runs for a wicket. Good length? Again, barely used, just 10 balls. But the short length, 5 meters and beyond, this is where the game turned. They bowled 56 balls at this length, conceding a massive 81 runs. The Indian spinners clearly favored bowling short, maybe trying to utilize that variable bounce of the pitch we talked about, but man, it backfired spectacularly. Because England, well, they definitely did their homework. Knowing the spinners were consistently dropping the ball short, the batters actively employed the sweep shot. They played 10 crucial sweeps against the spinners. They used it to rotate the strike, find the boundaries, and ultimately scored 18 runs off those specific shots alone, including 2 fours and a massive 6. It was a brilliantly calculated, pre-planned assault on a specific bowling length, and it kept the scoreboard moving, totally preventing India from applying any sort of squeeze in those middle overs. Moving on to Part 3, the fatal 17th over. Every great run chase has a pivot point, that exact moment where the game completely slips away. Let's step through the pure agony of Ravi Bishnoi's 17th over blow by blow. India had actually bowled pretty tightly in the 15th and 16th overs, conceding just 8 runs and picking up a wicket. The pressure was really mounting. And then, this happened. Ball 1, a boundary. Ball 2, Bishnoi bowls a no ball by cutting the return crease with his back leg. Ball 3 is the resulting free hit, which Bethel promptly launches for 6. And then, unbelievably, on the very next delivery, Bishnoi commits the exact same technical error. Another no ball for cutting the return crease. And again, Bethel absolutely punishes the free hit, sending it over the ropes for another 6. The crucial takeaway here is that the single over cost a staggering 29 runs. It was a total system failure at literally the worst possible time. Just when the required run rate was climbing and the pressure was supposed to be squarely on England's shoulders, this massive 29-run over effectively killed the game.
Bethel just unleashed himself, completely deflating the Indian side and closing out the chase with ruthless efficiency. And to give you some context on just how rare of a meltdown this actually was, Ravi Bishnoi became the first spinner from a full-member team to ever bowl 3 no-balls in a single T20 international. Think about it. Spinners usually have compact, highly controlled actions. To overstep, or in this specific case, repeatedly cut the return crease with the back leg, it just highlights the immense pressure he was operating under and how thoroughly the English batters had completely disrupted his rhythm. You can truly feel the subjective weight of these subjective statistics in Indian captain Shreyas Iyer's candid post-match admission. He obviously didn't want to point fingers directly, but the reality of the game was pretty inescapable. He said, "The 17th over haunted us." It is just a stark reminder that in T20 cricket, 20 overs of really hard work can be completely undone in the space of 6, or in this case, 8 deliveries. Finally, Part 4. Unwanted Records for India. So, what is the historical fallout from a dramatic finish like this? Well, this collapse leaves India with some heavily unwanted history. First off, Shrey Iyer now becomes the only Indian captain, out of the 12 who have captained 3 or more matches, to go winless in his first 4 games. Furthermore, this marks the first time since 2021 that India has lost 3 straight completed T20 internationals. It's a remarkably rare losing skid for such a powerhouse nation. On the flip side, though, this victory turns Emirates Old Trafford into a true fortress for England, securing their 4th successive T20I win at this venue. After witnessing such a historic chase, those wild momentum shifts, and the calculated exploitation of very specific bowling lengths, we are left with a vital question. With technical flaws and tactical errors brutally exposed under the floodlights at Old Trafford, how does India step back, analyze this data, and rebuild their bowling strategy moving forward? The margins in T20 cricket are just razor thin, and as this explainer has shown, a lack of execution in just a few key moments can literally rewrite the record books. Thanks for joining me as we unpack this incredible match.